This week on the Canadian Tech Podcast, frankly, the Frank phone is done. New product releases from Nest, Bell has a nutty idea for NAFTA, and Apple's new products are just fine. That's all next and more on the Canadian Tech Podcast.
The Canadian Tech Podcast is sponsored by Olio Digital Labs. Olio are the planners, designers, and developers of the apps used by some of Canada's biggest brands. Find out what Olio can do for you at oliodigitallabs.com. And we're also sponsored by CodeShip, continuous integration and delivery software that lets you ship your apps with confidence. Both CodeShip Basic and CodeShip Pro come with a free plan that grants 100 builds per month, unlimited projects, and unlimited users. Visit codeship.com today to find out which CodeShip product is right for you.
Welcome to the Canadian Tech Podcast, episode 133 for Sunday, September 24th, 2017, sponsored by Olio Digital Labs and CodeShip. My name is Stuart Clark.
And my name is Derek Silva.
Well, Derek, it is a bloody hot week again here in southwestern Ontario. We're setting records here, there, and everywhere, and I am not a happy camper.
Yeah, we all know I like the heat, but it was a little oppressive this weekend and made working outside not terribly easy. So yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. Just way too hot. I feel for people at the London International Air Show this weekend. They were out in the heat. I'm glad I wasn't out there. Anyway, all right, let's move right into those quick hits.
Let's do that. Sports streaming platform. I'm gonna say DAZN, DAZN. They've been experiencing some audio and video streaming issues as they've launched their NFL streaming and all that, and as a result, good on them. They're offering subscribers a $20 Canadian refund, which equals 1 month of access to the platform. So considering, it was probably just a couple of days or even just a week, a full month back is pretty substantial. Subscribers can expect to see that the refund on their credit cards within a week of this publishing. So by September 28th, you should see that if you are a DAZN subscriber.
Okay.
Much ballyhooed and much criticized Frank phone campaign has been suspended by Indiegogo. Indiegogo says that the creators of the Indiegogo campaign were misrepresenting themselves as the actual creators of the phone, which, after much criticism, it seems that they are most certainly not. It's actually a company from China called Shenzhen Ligug International Technology Company Limited, who is the actual ODM, original design manufacturer, and Mo Omer and Fad Al-Khattab are trying to clear things up and saying, yeah, you're right, we're not the actual creators, but we are customizing this for the North American market and changing some things and what have you. But apparently Indiegogo is not having any of it. However, they're now looking at possibly suing Indiegogo because apparently Indiegogo poached them from Kickstarter, convinced them to go to Indiegogo instead, and so now they're looking at Indiegogo's role in maybe hyping things a little bit too much. So regardless, at this point, you should get your money back soon from Indiegogo, I would suspect.
Right.
And Mo and Fad say they'll go through some other online store platform in order to make this happen. They're committed, but right now, Indiegogo is not having any of it.
Right. Interesting.
Nest unveiled a bunch of new products this week. They are things like, the Nest Cam IQ Outdoor. So there's an indoor and now there's an outdoor. It's $349 Canadian. It has an IP66 rating for waterproofing.
Mm-hmm.
It'll allow dust that could harm the device and can survive. It will not allow dust that could harm the device and it can survive low-pressure water jets. So a thunderstorm or accidentally hosing it down with a hose. It can also handle extreme temperatures and comes with a speaker that is 15 times louder than before. You do need to plug it in inside your house, so keep that in mind for any DIYers or electricians that are interested. FaceNet is available. That's the facial recognition technology that Nest borrows from Google. And but if you want that, that's going to be an extra $10 a month on top of buying the device itself. You can also get the indoor Nest Cam IQ is also getting a software update that turns it into a mini Google Assistant. So you'll be able to talk to one of your security cameras and ask it things like, what's the weather outside like today? There's the Nest Hello, which is a lot like Skybell or Ring Doorbell or any of these other video doorbells. It's considerably smaller, very different form factor from what I've seen before. It's got a 160-degree field of view. So if you have a tall friend or a puppy or a cat or maybe a squirrel running by the door, you should be able to see all of that. All the video shot in HDR. It adjusts for poor lighting, which is pretty cool. If you pay the $10 a month fee for Nest services, you'll also get alerts when people are talking at your door and speculating still about whether FaceNet will be available, which I think it really should be. But regardless, we'll see. No price yet. It's coming in Q1 2018. And then there's these Nest Secure. So this is like an ADT type security system. It's $499. I'm pretty sure that's American. No, it was $400. No, I think it was $400 American. So $499 Canadian. Basically, if somebody enters the house and you don't turn the alarm off, alarms trigger, sirens go off at over 85 decibels. That's like standing next to an airplane. It's pretty loud. You can punch in a key code, or there's like a little fob, or you can do something in an app to turn that off. There's the fob is called a Nest Tag. They cost $25 a piece one time. You can give these to babysitters, dog walkers, etc. The kit, I know, comes with a couple of door sensors, window sensors. There's this little home base thing that almost looks like the bottom of a Google Home. Anyway, that's $500, and you can spend. Well, in the U.S., you can get T-Mobile cellular backup service. We don't know yet whether there's going to be a Canadian cellular backup service. But if you're into this sort of thing and you don't want to pay $20 a month to ADT or Alarm Force for monitoring, then that's an option.
Cool.
Moving on, a company we've talked about before called Akira, which has a video, remote-based healthcare provider system where you could talk to a nurse or a doctor and actually do a consult over video. They've been bought by a company called Right Health. Right Health is still in beta, but they launched last year with the mission of combining face-to-face and virtual healthcare. They've been working on working with healthcare providers to build a consumer-facing portal and an app linked with a patient's electronic medical record. So their ideas where Right Health is really working on the physical side of things, Akira, being a virtual platform, is going to handle the virtual side of things.
Okay.
So Canadian company buying another Canadian company, that's nice. Strong teams, very medical focused and business focused. So hopefully the two combined will be a cool health tech powerhouse here in Canada and maybe beyond.
Cool.
Last but certainly not least, we finally found out this week that Equifax, in the Equifax hack, about 100,000 Canadians' personal information was exposed. And that could include things like name, social insurance number, address, in some cases credit card numbers. I actually got a response on Twitter, which I've closed, from Equifax. They responded to myself and Carmi Levy, who I had mentioned or responded to in a tweet before he went on the air, saying that they were working with the Ontario Privacy Commissioner to deal with the issue and obviously strengthen things going forward, and we're going to be notifying affected Canadians directly as soon as possible.
Right. Okay.
And
All
that's
right.
it for the quick hits.
That's it for the quick hits. Now let's talk about something a little bit nicer by one of our sponsors.
Everywhere we go, they're within an arm's reach. They make us more productive, help us stay connected, and even entertain us. And every day they're helping organizations across Canada build a better tomorrow. At Olio Digital Labs, we are the planners, the designers, the builders of the custom web and mobile applications that are enabling small and medium-sized organizations across southwestern Ontario, empowering some of Canada's largest brands. Large or small, organizations across Canada count on our focused development process to produce affordable, scalable mobile applications that can help fuel their futures. So whether developing a rock-solid e-commerce platform for an ambitious small market, developing a complex system integration for a national enterprise, or helping an organization of any size navigate application design and user experience, accessibility, and security compliance, we are your complete web and mobile production team. We are the experts to plan, design, build, and maintain your project. Find out what Olio Digital Labs can do for you by giving us a call or visiting us on the web at oliodigitallabs.com. Olio Digital Labs, code that powers every day.
And thank you to Olio for continuing to sponsor the the Canadian Tech Podcast.
That's all right. All right, let's get right on to it. Folks, I hope you have your popcorn ready. Derek has warned us in advance because this first story is basically he told me to get the popcorn ready. So you're probably going to hear a full-on Derek rant. The story is titled "Bell Calls for CRTC-Backed Website Blocking System and Complete Criminalization of Copyright in NAFTA." This also means for once we're kind of on Roger's side. they're very much against this. This is crazy. Okay, off you go.
Oh. Okay, so let's go over first a little bit of what Michael Geist reported on. He's a lawyer. He's a well-respected, well-known lawyer, IP and technology lawyer type of guy. Right. He is pretty sure his full-time gig right now is actually teaching at Carleton University.
I believe so, yes.
What was that? I think I triggered my my Google Assistant on my old Moto X. Anyway, sorry about that. So, Bell, I'll just quote. I'll remove a few words where needed, but I'll just quote this from Mr. Geist. Bell has called on the government to support radical copyright and broadcast distribution reforms as part of the NAFTA renegotiation. The proposals include the creation of a mandated website blocking system without judicial review overseen by the CRTC, and the complete criminalization of copyright with criminal provisions attached to all commercial infringement. Bell also supports an overhaul of the current retransmission system for broadcasters, supporting a consent model that would either keep U.S. channels out of the Canadian market or dramatically increase their cost of access while maintaining simultaneous substitution. Those positions were articulated at a hearing this week of the Standing Committee on International Trade on NAFTA, and the first hour included representatives from both Rogers and Bell. The Rogers position on copyright struck a reasonable balance. This is what Rogers had to say. The 2012 Copyright Modernization Act was carefully developed by Parliament over many years and is designed to serve the interests of all Canadians in its balance between rights holders and uses of copyrighted works. We are concerned that a trade renegotiation where copyright issues are used as bargaining chips could endanger this delicate balance. In our view, any changes to our domestic copyright laws should be made through the upcoming 5-year review of the Copyright Modernization Act, not through the NAFTA renegotiation. In other words, Rogers believes that changes to Canadian copyright law should come through an open, public process, not behind closed doors in a trade negotiation. I will stop quoting Mr. Geist there.
All right, so I just have one question. What the heck's Bell's smoking, particularly if it's not legal yet?
What I feel like, maybe this is law of unintended consequences coming into play here, but what I feel like Bell is actually after is a Canadian firewall. A great Canadian firewall. Forget the Chinese one for a second.
Yeah.
This would be a little bit different, but in effect, it would have the same thing. So you wouldn't be able to reach certain websites, which of course they're using in the UK to block access to a lot of pornography websites. I have no idea how that's going, but I suspect not particularly well, because there's lots of ways to get around that.
Because or you can just ask your ISP to take you off the list.
Right. There you go.
Seriously.
Yeah. They're looking for something without judicial review. So where police need to, generally speaking, go to a judge and get a warrant to search your house.
Yep.
They want this to be done without any of that due process type stuff. So, who would manage this list? Well, Bell has cocked up the National Do Not Call list pretty well over the last few years, so clearly we don't want them running it. And the complete criminalization of copyright with criminal provisions attached to all commercial infringement. Okay, so personal infringement, downloading, downloading something and just watching it at home, I don't think that would count there.
Right.
Commercial infringement, okay, sure. People making a buck off of other people's stuff without any sort of kickback or attribution or what have you. Okay, sure. I can support people being charged. I don't want that to be a crime in the sense that I don't think it's worth sending people to jail for that.
No, I think it's a fine. We've seen this already. We've seen at the odd, farmers market or flea markets. We always seem to, years ago, we always saw that guy that had all sorts of movies, like super cheap and didn't have very well labeled DVDs, if I recall.
And ultimately, I never bought that stuff because I could just go home and download it myself. But I was smart enough. But I can't. I can't even get behind this even a little bit.
Right.
I don't want things criminalized because I don't want to help pay $50,000 a year to put some person in jail because they were trying to make a quick buck off of selling a copy of Harry Potter.
Right.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And this whole website blocking system, Bell, jump off a cliff.
What are you thinking?
Just
exactly.
Come on. This never works. First of all, it never works. The people who want to get around it are going to get around it, and it's not that hard. It's not hard at all. There's so many ways to get around anything like that. And last I checked, this was not China. This is not the type of country where we feel like we need to put these sorts of measures in place in order to keep people in check and make sure Bell's making their bucks that they feel like they deserve. I understand they spend a lot of money, licensing content from CBS and NBC and ABC and whoever else for rebroadcast on Canadian TV, and they want to sell those commercials and stuff like that. Fine, I get that. Ultimately, put out a better product. People would pay for it. And if people won't pay for it, put it on Crave TV. You've got Crave TV. Put your money and your focus there for now. Because that's ultimately where people want to go. Even this new Alt 5 TV or whatever the heck it's called. Oh yeah, it's great. You can do this, you can do that. You can watch live TV, you can do this. It's really affordable, but only if you're in a Bell 5 network, and probably only if you have Bell Internet, or if you only have this. There's always all these stupid rules attached to everything. Because the rights distributors just feel like they need to hold on so tight. Nobody has learned yet the lessons that the music industry is finally learning. Where Apple has attracted a lot of subscribers. Spotify has attracted a lot of subscribers. Google Play Music is, I don't know, getting there, presumably.
It's getting there. Well, it comes down to you make the product easy for people to get.
Yes.
You don't make it too expensive. You reduce the friction, and people will come. Exactly.
Right. So, and tying this to NAFTA, oh, come on.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
This isn't the TPP. We had reservations over the TPP already because stuff like this was in there. The last thing we need is to tie copyright law into NAFTA. That ties us directly to the U.S. in some ridiculous ways, where they have, like, you put something out right? And it's copyright, and that copyright doesn't expire until like 70 years after you die. Who is actually benefiting in your family that late? You know,
Exactly.
that much time after your death. It's
Yep.
people who literally didn't know you,
No.
or
Exactly.
the smart company that bought those rights from you before you passed away, or bought them from your family. It's ridiculous. Like, I understand, you know, if I make something, I want my family to benefit from it for a while, or for me to benefit for a while. Maybe up until I die, maybe even a little bit after I die, just in case. It's 50, 70 years? Like, you're literally talking great-grandkids who maybe had no idea who I ever was.
Exactly.
It's pointless.
Exactly.
And that, I don't want to get Canada into a position where we're tied to that sort of BS, all because Bell is having a hissy fit over their poor products and their poor execution of those products and those services, and thinking, well, why isn't anybody buying our stuff?
Yep.
Make it better. Stop trying to force us to buy it. Just make it better, and I will.
So do you think this is going to go very far in committee?
No, thankfully.
Right.
I don't think so. Certainly not. I guess it depends on who's on the standing committee on international trade on NAFTA. But Mr. Geist thankfully appeared earlier in the week before the same committee. So I'm certain he had a very different stance to take, and thankfully he is well respected and he does speak very well. So, you know, I think
even if it got past committee, I think politically for the Liberal government, it just wouldn't fly.
It wouldn't
just
happen.
No way. It just they got too many votes. You know, they rely on a lot of younger folks who are more tech savvy, who are more aware of these issues. And yeah, it's not going to fly. Not at all.
What I find particularly ironic is that Bell typically wants the CRTC to stay out of their stuff.
Yep.
Right? Don't regulate us. Stay out of my business. Let us do whatever we want. Oh, but this is okay.
So,
right?
so
it's
you
totally
wonder
okay
where
for the CRTC and for the CRTC to create a blacklist of pirate sites, and then the ISPs would be required to block it. No.
So again, you wonder what Bell's strategy is. Where's this coming from?
George Cope himself, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Or his lawyer, or not his lawyers, but his cronies.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I don't know what they're thinking, or it's a one hell of a trial balloon. So we'll see. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Are you all done? Can I put my popcorn away?
I'll just keep drinking wine.
All right, I'm going to put my popcorn away for now. It makes a hell of a lot of noise. All right, Google and HTC, they announced a $1.1 billion with a B cooperation agreement. HTC is that company that, does the odd bit of phone stuff. They do some VR.
Yeah, the Vive.
They're from Taiwan, the Vive, and stuff like that. But this is apparently, Google's not buying the whole thing. They're just buying a large part of the smartphone business. And they're also gaining half of HTC's research and development people, which is about 2,000 people, and a non-exclusive license for HTC's intellectual property. So it sounds like here they want to have a little bit more smarts in some of their cell phones. Now they've had HTC make phones for them before, correct?
Yes, and HTC will continue to do so. HTC made my phone, made the Google Pixel, actually manufactured it. Google had a lot of the designs say, but HTC manufactured it. Rumor is HTC will make the next Pixel 2, whereas LG will manufacture the Pixel XL 2, which is a little weird. But I imagine there's a reason for that. Maybe it's manufacturing capacity or what. What I don't... Okay, Google's going to get 2,000 really smart people in Taiwan. Fine. Those people are really good at designing phones and picking hardware and just whatever they're good at. So basically, this is actually HTC's third-party smartphone design unit or hardware design unit. So other companies were coming to HTC, not just Google, and saying, could you help us design a new phone or a new VR headset or a new smart speaker or whatever? And HTC would say, yeah, sure, no problem. And apparently Google was their biggest customer at this point. Fine. And so Google is actually buying that division. That's that division. So HTC will no longer, I assume, help other people design hardware, other companies.
Which could be an advantage there. And the story we linked to from The Guardian also talks about, voice control, stuff like that, smart control stuff, voice enabled. And this is, where maybe Google's going.
Yeah, almost certainly. What we've seen Microsoft do lately, and Amazon, and certainly Google, is go the Apple way when it comes to hardware. Mm-hmm. We need to control the hardware. We need to pick the pieces that go inside and outside and everything about it so that we can have the best experience. Android operating system will still be open source. You can still download it and put it on a Raspberry Pi or whatever you want to do. Right. But, Google wants to make, I think, a more premium experience with their devices, a more predictable experience with their devices, so that they can get to a place where, just like you have Apple fanboys who have a MacBook and an iMac and an Apple TV and an iPad and an iPhone and everything, and they use numbers and pages and iCloud and all that. Apple's hardware is great. I'll debate you on the software, and they do have a fairly complete ecosystem. Google's software has always been really good. The hardware, up until they started doing the Nexus devices and then the Pixel devices, has been far more lackluster because they couldn't get anybody to actually do it their way and what they thought would be amazing. So they started the Nexus line, and now they've got the Pixel line, and they've got Pixel laptops, and they've got a Pixel C tablet, and they've got the Chromecast devices and the Google TV device, which has not really taken off. But regardless, they're trying, and they're absolutely trying. And Microsoft's doing the same thing with the Surface devices.
Yes.
And so and Amazon has the Echo and the Echo Dot and the Echo Tap and the Echo Show and the Echo Look, and for all we know, soon Echo glasses that won't have screens or a camera, but regardless, it's going to be like a voice assistant thing.
Yep.
And Google's been working with Bose. Bose just released the QC35-2 noise-canceling Bluetooth headphones with Google Assistant built in. And we've seen rumors about a Google Home Mini, which actually looks really cute. Like everybody's
more. This is the next phase.
Right. So instead of, I guess, poaching people from HTC and elsewhere, Google's just like, forget it. We're just going to buy as many smart people as we can. HTC needed to make some cash. They're making $1.1 billion on this, so it's 1.4 billion Canadian, thereabouts. And so they get a lifeline. $1 billion should go a long way. And Google gets 2,000 really smart people that are actually really close to all the parts manufacturers that they actually end up using or integrating with, and even the company still that's making their own phones and will be manufacturing at least one of Google's next flagship phones. Right. I think that's the end result. $1.1 billion is a lot of money to get there, but they get there really quickly, and they access that talent really quickly, and these people can start designing the next device right now.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Moving on. We mentioned Apple. The iPhone 8. iPhone 8 was released. Segway. This doesn't surprise me a lot. Apparently, not as huge lineups for the stores for this latest release. Doesn't really surprise me because, again, it's not really much of a, there's not a lot of new things compared to the 7, especially when you've got the iPhone 10 coming out fairly soon after that, even with the inflated price tag. You and I both know that people are going to buy it.
I know. Even with that, I know people who are like, should I just spend the extra $400 or $500 or whatever it is? And I'm like, I don't think you should, but hey, it's your money. You do whatever you want.
Exactly. But yeah, so we've seen some reviews out, and there's a few different reviews of it. Some people are saying, it's a slight upgrade, but again, it's essentially a 7S.
Yeah,
really.
It should have been called a 7S.
Yeah, there's some software and stuff like that, software improvements. The wireless charging certainly neat. That's finally arrived. Even though, how long has the Android site had that? A year or two?
Oh, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like the Samsung Galaxy S7 has it, the S6 has it. I think the S5 did too. So the S7 was already a year ago. The S6 was already 2 years ago. So the S5 would be, if the S5 had it, that would be at least 3 years now.
Yeah. Now, some people are touting definitely faster processor. We see that in the benchmarks.
Sure.
A lot of people are liking the True Tone. Again, some of the photography improvements. If you're into that, certainly the portrait modes I think are kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Again, you can do that in software in post.
Yes, but when it's so darn
not
easy,
as easy. Exactly.
That really says something. And I'm wondering now how much longer it's going to be before people just start taking their own passport photos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just find a white wall, find a friend, and go.
Yep. Just do it. Just do it like that. So again, I'm not really surprised. I won't call it a tepid response, but definitely, a more muted reaction.
Well, so what I'm wondering, and we all know I'm not an Apple apologist in any way, but what I'm wondering is how much of this is lack of demand, and how much of this is just people just getting it shipped instead of bothering to show up at the store.
Well, but people
just
still
pre-order and
they want
send
it.
it to
They
my
want
house.
it. I know, but people still want it first day. There always has been those hardcore fanboys.
You get it first day.
Yeah, but I think in this case, the hardcore fanboys are waiting for the iPhone 10. I think that's a lot of it, and
Maybe.
again, it'll be interesting once we have sales
Sure.
numbers and
we never get
like
real good sales numbers, but we'll apparently Tim Cook is quite happy with the numbers so far, so that's good. And it's a very nice looking device. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm sure the camera's better, according to DxOMark. The iPhone 8 Plus has the best smartphone camera they've ever tested. So that's besting the Pixel and the Galaxy S8 at this point. So good on Apple. Of course, the iPhone X will have an impact on sales and on demand, therefore. But I'm really curious about whether I'm getting iOS 11 on any of my devices. I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't touched them all recently either.
Yeah, I tend to wait. I tend to wait a while anyway. I'll tend to wait a week or two.
Yeah.
Or throwing it on there.
0.1.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to have it first day.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with OS 10. Their High Sierra. I can afford to wait a few weeks to let everyone else get the bugs out of it.
I'm still waiting for bugs to be fixed in macOS Sierra, let alone High Sierra.
Exactly. So the other thing that was released was the Apple Watch 3, again pretty favorable reviews thanks to the processor and stuff like that. A lot of people like the cellular connectivity. Only thing is in Canada right now, it's only available with Bell. Now they're only charging $5 extra, I believe. So that's that's not bad.
That is literally less than half the price American carriers are charging, which is really impressive.
Yeah, it's still a pretty expensive device, but some of the new health features and stuff like that, I'm pretty impressed with. If I had the money, I would seriously consider it. Some people are saying the battery life, if you're on cell only all day, you don't get all day battery. But again, wireless charging.
Not.
Yeah, wireless charging, stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And of course, people use their watches different ways, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But again, fairly favorable response so far. I'm looking forward to popping down to the Apple Store and seeing one actually.
I know this is a lot like a Dick Tracy watch.
Yep.
Except for one thing, if I recall correctly, there's no antenna sticking out.
No.
I want an antenna to stick out.
You know what? So probably someone will offer that as an accessory.
Probably.
Just for you.
Just give it some time.
Right.
Apple Watch Series 3.
He's writing it here now.
Add on.
Heard it here first.
You
heard it here first.
No, I'm not seeing anything on the first page of Google results. Darn it.
All right.
Or on the second page. Come on.
When it comes out, you can say, "Hey,
It'll be a
or you can
Kickstarter.
make your own. Or you can make your own.
It'll be a
Okay.
Kickstarter. Somebody,
exactly.
somebody will look at that and be like, "That needs an antenna, like a bunny ear antenna, just one, an antenna sticking out."
Okay, moving on to our friends south of the border. Canada's Privacy Commissioner is very concerned about U.S. border phone searches, and he's basically saying you shouldn't go to the U.S. if you're unwilling to have your devices searched. This is based on a lot of people lately are having their cell phones, computers, and other devices being searched by the U.S. Border Patrol at the border. People are being made to give up their social media passwords and stuff like that. Now, give it as you may, we've heard reports about people that are critical of the government or critical of the president or that are being denied and are being sent back in some cases. So again, think of it what you will, but the stats don't lie. They've increased border searches on phones have increased between 2015 and 2016. And again, considering what is in one's cell phone these days, I think Canadians have a right to be concerned.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure I told the story here after I went to the North American International Auto Show in January in Detroit. Was the first time anybody had ever asked me if I've ever been arrested, charged with any crimes at all. And then they actually did like the mirror check underneath my car.
Well, because you have to admit you do look like a shifty character.
I shaved that day.
Oh, jeez.
No, but seriously, like that was, and this is like right around. I think it was like the day after the inauguration, or the day of the inauguration, and
right.
I was like, wow, like that. I know other people have gone through way worse. Absolutely. I'm not saying that like this was terrible, but like that was the first time I, as a natural born Canadian citizen who has crossed the US border many times and never caused an issue in that country, and yet I'm being asked all these questions that they darn well know the answers to.
Oh yeah.
And so I was really surprised, and then as soon as I heard like, yeah, we're gonna start mandating that you hand over passwords and your phone and all that, I'm like, that's it, I'm not going, and I haven't been, and I'm not going. I'm not going to a country who is going to invade my privacy needlessly just because they can.
And you wonder how much same day trips and stuff like that are down.
That's fine. Why don't you go find out?
I'll take.
I haven't heard stats lately, but certainly that is something we usually hear about at least a couple times a year.
Yeah, we'll probably hear about it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you go do that, because there's a second part to the story. Because the Privacy Commissioner of Canada, so his name is Daniel Therrien. He also tabled his annual report to Parliament the other day, and it included recommendations for restoring public confidence in technology, like legislative amendments for order-making powers and the ability to impose administrative monetary policies. Quote from Therrien, "The digital revolution has brought us important benefits and will continue to be a major contributor to economic growth. Few of us would like to go back to the pre-digital age." A few would, but no one has agreed to give away their privacy on the basis of 50-page privacy policies written in legalese most lawyers don't understand. Canadians have told us privacy policies are broken, and they want better information to exercise their right to give or withhold consent meaningfully. So his report included the results of a consultation on the challenges facing consent. The consultation received more than 50 written submissions from businesses, civil society, academics, lawyers, regulators, and individuals, and they also held 5 stakeholder roundtables across the country. And what he said that what they heard was that while consent remains central to personal autonomy, other mechanisms are also needed. For example, Canadians need to be supported by an independent regulator with the legislation and resources necessary to properly inform citizens, guide industry, hold businesses accountable, and sanction inappropriate conduct. Canadians don't feel protected by a law that has no teeth, and businesses held to no more than non-binding recommendations. So the improvements he recommended making include shifting towards a proactive enforcement and compliance model rather than a complaints-based ombudsman model of privacy protection. OPC, which is the Privacy Commissioner's Office, I think the Officer of the Privacy Commissioner, may be better placed than individuals to identify privacy problems related to complex new technologies. I would tend to agree, simply because they could actually put the resources in place. Updating key guidance on online consent to specify 4 key elements that must be highlighted in privacy notices and explained in a user-friendly way. That would be nice. And developing new guidance that would specify areas where collection, use, and disclosure of personal information is prohibited. For example, situations that are known or likely to cause significant harm to the individual. So I really like Daniel Therrien, and I'd be more than happy for him and his office to take on those 3 improvements that he feels like they could make. That's great. If you have any feedback, people, feel free to tweet at us or Facebook us or email contact@canadiantechpodcast.ca or hit up techpodcast.ca and comment on the blog, on the website.
Definitely.
Happy to hear what you guys think about this. Stuart, before we go to phones...
I have numbers.
You have numbers, good.
I have some numbers. Annually since last July, trips by car declined 3%.
Oh.
Led by a 3.2% decrease in the number of same-day car trips and a 2.5% decline in overnight car trips.
That's pretty big.
So there you go. That's just, now
it's
apparently
literally thousands of people not going.
But the number of Canadian travelers making overnight trips to the U.S. by plane increased 12.9% from July 2016. So that was a record high. Now that could be also the Canadian dollar. So people going on vacation, like big vacations and stuff like that. You
could be crossing through the U.S. too and not staying there. It depends on your flights.
True. So there we go. All right. Do you have anything else on this one?
I don't. I really don't like where the U.S. is headed in a whole bunch of different ways, and it does have an impact here, and I'm just a little tired of it.
And that's all the stories for this week, and now we're going to have a little word from our good friends at CodeShip.
CodeShip is a SaaS-delivered continuous integration and delivery solution that lets you ship your apps with confidence. You can choose between CodeShip Basic or CodeShip Pro. CodeShip Basic is a simple testing and deployment service with pre-installed CI dependencies that works right out of the box, making the average setup time less than 3 minutes. Or you can try CodeShip Pro. CodeShip Pro makes you feel super cool because you're a pro and is fully customizable continuous integration and delivery service with native Docker support, and it is way easier to use than Jenkins or Travis. It makes it easy to test and deploy your microservices. You can push to any registry. It's also perfect if you want to deploy with Kubernetes, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to get certified in soon, so that's pretty cool. And comes with a convenient local CLI tool that allows you to run your builds locally. It helps encrypt your environment variables, and it guarantees 100% parity between your development and production environments. Both CodeShip Basic and Pro come with a free plan that grants 100 builds per month, unlimited projects, and unlimited users. And of course, the open source projects are always free on CodeShip. So visit codeship.com today or check out codeship.com/features to find out which CodeShip product is the best fit for you.
And we'd like to thank CodeShip for their ongoing support of the Canadian Tech Podcast. Okay, stuff we like this week. I found one called XMind. It's another mind mapping software. It's rare to find them all the time that are cross-platform, both Mac and PC. The one I've been using, MindNode, it's Java-based, and I'm also always a big fan of that. So I just started playing around with this XMind, and so far on both Mac and PC, it works very, very well. I enjoy using mind maps sometimes, particularly when I'm just trying to brainstorm an idea, or even sometimes when we're doing the show here for ideas for the show or questions for guests and things like that. So, yeah, give that one a try. You can get it. It's in the show notes, and it's at xmind.net for all your favorite platforms. Derek, what do you have this week?
Well, we had a council meeting on Wednesday that got really heated toward the end around personnel and HR issues. Councillor Brennan brought up a notice of motion last meeting, so we heard at this meeting, on having an independent third-party person come in and do exit interviews as an option, of course. You can't force people to do exit interviews when they're leaving, but if you didn't want to talk to your manager or somebody else within the municipality, we wanted to offer a third party from I don't care where, quite frankly. Some people were like, oh, well, this person won't know, like, they won't know anything about the municipality. They won't know our community. And I say, so what? That's kind of the point. Is there an independent, you don't know me from a hole-in-the-wall person who, if you're that personality, you can be extremely open with and say whatever you want because you're not concerned with burning bridges or anything like that.
Right.
Have at it. Just go nuts. If you're the type of person who feels more comfortable talking to somebody you don't know about why you're leaving, then that's your opportunity and have at it. The motion got defeated. There's been a lot of talk about doing something bigger, more comprehensive. I'm confident that's going to happen. But some of the folks in the audience, which I'm quite certain were there for Councillor Brennan specifically, whew, boy, they had some opinions. And that's fine. I mean, ultimately it's up to the mayor to temper that or say, no, we're not going to hear from you guys, or say, yes, we are going to hear from you folks and speak your mind and go ahead. And he did let a few people speak.
That's good.
But that was fun. I completely drained the pool this weekend.
That was bad timing.
Yeah. But I already started last weekend. I wasn't going to spend another $50 to refill it when I've already spent $100 to fill it in the first place. And it needs to be cleaned. It's time. It needs to come down.
Yep.
Really, really loving the 2017 Chevy Silverado we got in the middle of the week. It is a beast of a vehicle. The Chevrolet MyLink infotainment system is actually quite well done. There's an app for my phone that I've downloaded and installed already. I need to re-log in with my MyLink app or credentials in order to actually use it. But for the next 5 years, at least, I can start the vehicle, stop the vehicle from my phone and all that sort of stuff, see where it is, etc., which is really, really cool.
Awesome. And you're also going to get a Christmas card from your local gas bar, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It depends. Well, so right now, Petro-Canada has if you use your RBC credit card, we'll give you 2 cents off per liter thing.
Oh, that's good.
So I took advantage of that this morning. And then, of course, we get PC Plus points at the Loblaws gas bar, which is going to be BG Fuels soon. Or sorry, it's going to be
something like that.
It's owned by BG Fuels already, but it's going to be mobile branded, like in the US.
Yeah. And we're not sure if they're going to have that. We're not sure if they're going to have the points anymore either.
They are going to have the points still.
They are.
They say that right on the pump. Yeah. When you're pumping your gas, if you actually read the message, they actually say we're going to keep offering PC Plus points. So that's nice. Good. So yeah, one of those two, or maybe both, will send me a Christmas card.
There you go.
And otherwise, I had a heck of a time. It was great at the Wellness Center last night because our phenomenal Kamoka Kings Junior B hockey team had their first home game of the season. It was a 3-3 tie, but it was super emotional because the Sarnia Legionnaires went up 2-0. And just before we ended the first period, I think, we got a goal back. And then it was 3-2 or 3-1 for Sarnia. Or no, wait. 2-1, then we tied 2-2, and then 3-2 for Sarnia, and then we tied it up in the third to go 3-3. And so lots of let's go Kings, and everybody got, the first 300 fans got a free towel last night to wave, like a goal towel, and so that was a lot of fun. It was really, really cool. It was a good atmosphere. Of course, some people talked to me about council business last night.
Of course, but that's normal.
But that's normal, and that was kind of nice. Like, people recognized me, and they're like, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, sure, why not? Go for it.
Exactly. So this means you'll have to start making arrangements to get someone to start forming a booster club for when they go on the road. You've seen Slapshot. Come on.
I'll let Roop handle that. But I will say here, I said on Twitter last night, I will say here, much thanks to Roop Chanderdat, who is a co-owner of the London Majors, and the owner of the Komoka Kings for bringing them to Komoka, because that was a lot of fun. And
Awesome.
there was probably about 200 people there last night. So that's
Good.
It's a lot better
Good.
than the 5 they were getting in Forest. So
There you go.
I'm
So
sure that was good.
That'll
a good
work.
start.
Okay. So the other thing I was actually going to ask you about is stuff we like.
Oh, right.
You just
Stuff we
bounced.
like.
You
Oh,
bounced. You
geez.
bounced right. You were just so excited to talk about that council.
Woo!
That's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
really was.
So what did you find that you liked this week?
So I wanted to download Rocket League on my phone, but it doesn't exist on Android or iOS. So I found Rocket Ball Championship Cup instead. So basically the idea is you play soccer with a vehicle.
Cool.
And it's quite a bit of fun. It's not super great graphics. You know, the physics are probably a little off, but I'd say they're pretty good overall. And you can actually play against other real people, so that's kind of fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. As for me, what I was up to, I've just been trying to survive this damn heat. I am not, as people know, I am not this sort of guy for this sort of heat and humidity. So it has me inside a lot. Doing some more personal development. Was helping our good friends at Christian at Techdos last week, covering the phones a couple of days. He's been really busy. So yeah, that's been about it for me. Coming up is Library Board Week, so that's always fun. September kind of started the year, a lot of policy stuff. So yeah, so that's what's happening there. So I think we're done, my friend.
I think you're right.
I think we're right. So for episode 133 for Sunday, September 24th, 2017, my name is Stuart Clark.
My name is Derek Vroom Vroom Silva.
Thank you, and be well.